Alright everyone, the BBC News has reported trans man says he locked himself away over period. Yeah, that sounds really important. I can't imagine what else is going on in our society or even in the world right now that's more important than this. Before we start though, my favourite thing is the caption. Jay Hartley-Reid says he has to put on a fake deeper voice so that he can feel safe enough to go to the shop. Hey, we're saying hey for a woman. Does anyone else do one hiccup a day? I just do one a day. Woman! A trans man said he locked himself away every month when he menstruated because he could not access trans-friendly underwear. Jay Hartley-Reid, 28, from... Listen, I can't pronounce these Welsh places. Jay Hartley-Reid, 28, from Lalanelli, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, Welsh people, said there were not enough spaces for trans and non-binary people, felt safe in small towns and rural areas. He said he had to put on a fake deeper voice and pretend to be a lad just to go to the shop. I'm sure it must be really difficult for you to pretend to be something you're not. Do you know what would make your life a lot easier? Just be yourself. Ree Kemp David, a non-binary therapist, said changing your appearance as a trans person to pa was often done to avoid violence. Let's unpack this neatly tied pile of shit. First of all, this woman locks herself away every month when she's having her period just because she can't access a pair of men's underwear that has the shape for women's genitalia and the perfect landing spot for a pad to go in. I hate to break it to her, but she could always just buy men's incontinence pads and carry on wearing boxers. Another simple solution is to wear tampons. Now, I know not everybody likes tampons. Why does she have to wear boxers when she's on her period? What's more amazing is that our society in the UK does keep pandering to it. I mean, this made it into BBC News. The news is pandering to it. I really enjoyed the non-binary bit there because I personally thought that non-binary was over in 2017. It's just narcissistic bullshit, as my sticker says. There are non-binary people who claim to change their sex multiple times a day. So I love it when someone who claims to be trans also claims that non-binary is a real thing, even though non-binary completely goes against trans, because when you're trans, you're transitioning from one sex to the other. If you're non-binary, you're both neither, or you can be whatever you want. To be honest, all of it's bollock. All of it is. None of it makes any sense. I just thought that some people in the cult would have enough integrity to sneer at the non-binary stuff. I'm just always blown away that our society in general takes any of these piss takers seriously. To me, it's an absolute joke because she wouldn't have any of these problems. She wouldn't be worrying about any of this if she weren't pretending to be something she's not. The only way to save yourself from eternal white people damnation is to buy my art. The famous artist, BirdieRose.com. The famous artist, BirdieRose.com. For legal purposes, I have been advised to warn you that buying my art does not guarantee you a place in heaven with the Lord Baby Owen Jones and all of the lovely little lambs. Jay Harley said he would cry and lock myself away every month when he menstruated because he had to wear female underwear to use sanitary products. Oh my god, this is like the most pathetic thing I could ever imagine. It's so beyond pathetic that it's actually embarrassing that a full-grown woman has gone to the newspaper to whinge about her period because she's not wearing the underwear she wants to wear when she could just go out and buy herself some. I don't usually like to get personal, but I'm a woman. I've got PCOS and I have had the most debilitating experience of periods since I was 11 years old. I've never known pain like it. And you go through life a lot as a young woman with a condition like PCOS and endometriosis. And people, even other women especially, don't believe you that you're in the pain you're in. And I've spent the first 20 years or more of my life dreading it. I'd be on codeine for a week at a time, shaking, being sick, white as a ghost, can't do anything. And that was my life for a long time. As you get older, it starts to ease up on you. It's like your body goes, oh, do you know what? You've had a long time of dealing with this. Let's calm down, which is a good thing. The fortunate thing for me is I've started to experience what I assume normal periods are like. And I could not, for the life of me, imagine having the gall to moan and whinge, not just in general, but to a newspaper, that you don't get to wear the underwear you want to wear during your period because the underwear you want to wear is made for men and men don't have periods. I don't understand why this is taking up space in the news when you've got conditions like PCOS and endometriosis and women suffering all over the place with these conditions, and that doesn't get the airtime. What gets the airtime is a woman whinging that she's not wearing boxers when she knows damn well she could just go out and buy herself some and put the pad in it anyway. I have become 100% intolerant to these whingy, cry-bully psychopaths getting the platform, getting the spotlight, being the loudest people in the room, and being pandered to by our entire society. I've had enough of it. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror, even though I would be wearing my suits. I knew what I had underneath. He said, every day was a battle to carry on. These are the words of someone who needs to get real problems. It speaks of the luxury and the privilege that you've lived under, that you would get to the age you're at, you're nearly 30 years old, and your biggest problem in your life is that you're not wearing boxer shorts when you're on your period. Absolutely insane. Every time I think I couldn't be more blown away by someone else's entitlement, I am knocked away like a little feather in a tornado. I have no shame in saying I've got zero tolerance for this. If a woman was to genuinely, to my face, complain to me that she doesn't get to wear boxers during her period and she doesn't know how to cope and this is what's making her life so difficult, I think I would tell her to get a life. I think I'd tell her to grow up. Get over yourself. Who do you think you are? I don't even think I would speak to that woman. He said his mental health and confidence would have been so much better if he had just had guidance, support and underwear made for trans men. This woman, who's nearly 30 years old, she's saying her mental health would be better if the world would just revolve around her. Just pretend that men have periods too and cater everything in the men's department to her and her needs. That's what would make her mental health better. Do you know what I think would make her mental health better? If she just gets to over herself. After taking testosterone, he said, I'm very lucky my periods have stopped, but they could come back. I won't know or have any warnings. That kind of happens when you take artificial testosterone 40 to 50 times what men naturally have in their bodies. You're lucky if that is the only thing that's happening to you, because the risks are so much more serious. Diabetes, osteoporosis, cancer, heart disease, all sorts of shit you don't want happening to you. You're so lucky. All you've got is unpredictable period. Jay Harley said being trans in a small town meant there were very few LGBTQ plus resources available locally. It's a love and hate war right now. There's not enough spaces out there where we can be ourselves, where we can feel safe and protected. He put on a fake deeper voice and pretend to be a lad just to go to the shop, a restaurant or a pub. It's terrifying to go out and use a public toilet. They're not safe. You don't know who you're with. He said if they found out our true identity, it's scary to think that they might not be accepting. Not everyone has to accept you. Whether they know your true identity or not everyone has to accept you. I think it's so funny that she's talking about how her rural town isn't making her feel protected and how it should be her safe space. Because I couldn't think of anything less manly than whinging that your town isn't going out of their way to make you feel safe. I don't know another man that has done that. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just doesn't strike me as very manly. It strikes me as somebody who's immature. This woman has not grown up at all. She's infantilizing herself and wanting the whole town to participate in it. As for the toilets issue, look, she uses men's toilet by choice. Her pretending to be a man is a choice. She chose that. She literally chose this. It's her choice. Trans is a choice. Men don't mind a man in a dress using the toilets. They do seem to mind a little bit when a woman pretending to be a man goes in there, and I imagine that has something to do with the fact that men are also deserving of privacy and dignity. Because guess what? Men are human too. Honestly though, these spoiled brat cry-bullies are coming for everybody sooner or later. It ain't just women and children they're after. When Jay Harley came out in 2009, he said no one got it, and he had to figure out things for himself. The reason no one got it is because she's a woman living in a rural town asking everyone to pretend that she's a man. Why should anyone understand that? It's an absurd request. It's an even more absurd demand. He wanted to flatten his chest and discovered binders, but had to import one from the US because there were no UK companies at the time. If I didn't have my binder, I couldn't go out because it was a part of me. Without that, I would be misgendered because people would look at my chest. Your body parts are all people see, and that's what your gender is to them. Jay Harley said he wore his binder for up to 18 hours a day every day because of his job as a barista, which led to bumps developing from his ribs from the compression. He said wearing them was not a choice for many trans men and non-binary people, as there was such a long wait for top surgery. Wow. Wearing a binder absolutely is a choice. You could just find a really nicely well-fitted bra. If you're big up top and you want to get smaller, one way you can do that is get in the gym, lift some weight, get lean in a healthy way. If you're small up top and you're just insecure, you've got problems. You've got problems that are bigger than I need to chop these off, because wherever you go, whatever you do to your body, whatever you put on it, there you are, and you're going to have to face that. I don't know why I keep talking to the camera as if these people are ever going to listen to me. They're not. Ree Kemp Davies, 42, a non-binary person. Imagine being 42 and claiming to be non-binary. Sake. Works as a therapist for trans and non-binary people, as well as providing training for other therapists. So we're hearing this. This is genuinely terrifying. So imagine this. You're a parent and you've got a teenage daughter that's going through puberty, and she seems to have some sort of propensity toward negative emotion. And so she's experiencing uncomfortableness and difficulties with her developing body. And she's depressed. She might be anxious. You send her to a therapist thinking that this is going to be a mature, qualified, older person who can have some wisdom and insight and professional, practical advice for this young child. You send them to this lunatic over here who says they're non-binary and is going to indoctrinate your kid into their weirdo porn cult. I find it genuinely terrifying. I really do. This is the problem with therapy, because in our society everybody goes on about like mental health this, mental health that, therapy this, therapy that. Seems like everyone's just getting worse because they're focusing on themselves too much and it's making them neurotic. And it says here, a survey was done. 72% of respondents said they did not feel safe living in the UK. They're the number one safest demographic in this country. They said a lot of trans and non-binary people feel a constant hypervigilance of, am I safe here? Whenever they meet a new person, start a new job, degree or course, or come out to family. That's your own doing. You're imagining that upon telling people that you're the opposite sex for some magical reason, they're going to just fly into a fit of rage and become uncontrollable with anger. But that never happened. The UK is hyper tolerant, and I would say way too tolerant of this bullshit. Packing underwear are boxing shorts which allow a prosthetic or foam cup insert to create a bulge which can alleviate gender dysphoria and keep people safe. I can't imagine that putting things in your underwear to pretend that you've got a penis is a way to keep you safe. These people who claim to be trans have this ultimate fantasy that everybody's just trying to look in their pants. I don't know where that came from other than porn. So it says here, what is being done to make the LGBTQ plus community in Lelelani feel safe, connected and give them resources to look after themselves? Jay Harley and his partner have paired with trans charity Not a Phase, yes it is, to do free coffee mornings at their cafe. I bet people who are just normal and sane are not allowed to have free coffee there. He said, being from a tiny town, there was nothing for the community, and so people had been so grateful to the couple. Jay Hartley said he had enjoyed seeing customers being more comfortable and getting more more confident within themselves to start living their authentic lives. You know, the authentic life where you do everything you can to try not to be yourself. I feel like there needs to be a designated space in all towns where we can be free. You are free. You live in the UK. You're free to go wherever you want, do whatever you want, shop wherever you want, drink coffee wherever you want. No one's stopping you, even with your weird little toys in your pants. Do you know what? I've just got to the bottom and I've just found out this whole entire article is to promote a trans underwear line that has been created in the UK. The underwear has a medium absorbent liner because when people take testosterone, monthly cycles are reduced but not entirely eliminated. Things which are not made for you are a physical reminder that you are in a world that is not made for you. Babe, none of us are in a world that's individually made for us. I'm done. I don't care about people's underwear. I can't believe there's a whole article moaning about underwear just to promote underwear for women who want to wear boxers. You can already get boxers for women. Men can already buy thongs on the internet and put them on and wrap them around their willy or whatever it is they do with them. This isn't needed. This is pathetic. I hope you've enjoyed wasting your time with me. See you later.
Early in the morning, as the sun comes up, I just wanna have a cup. There's one drink, that's the one for me. Won't you please make me a cup of tea?
The company says standard advice on binding still applies, such as only binding for 8 hours at a time and not wearing the binder to sleep. The company said it was working on a more in-depth safe binding guide with input from a medical professional in the new year. Do you know what? Just don't damage your body for a fashion trend. It's not worth it.